21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
Hi, Jeremy. How are you today?
Good, man. How are you? I'm so excited to be on here.
Well, thanks. Thank you very much. We had a wonderful intro, but we will not put it in the podcast.
No, you got to shave it in. You got to put it in.
Okay, the shaving thing, huh?
Yes.
Okay, I will.
The authenticity part of this is why I do.
Oh, absolutely. You will be amazed what kind of stupid questions I can ask you. Authentic.
I want you to bring
deep, clever questions.
The more stupid this interview questions are, the better I do. So
that's great. That's wonderful.
Stupid and deep is exactly where I go.
Let's immerse into positive psychology and think our energies. Bubble butt, bubble butt, bubble butt, bubble butt, bubble butt. Hi, Jeremy. Can you introduce yourself? Nice having you on 21st Century Entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Basically, it will be audio podcast. So I will ask you a question and I will shut up, and so I can edit it later.
Okay. You can edit any of me in or out. So if you need a soundbite later, I'm more happy. I'm happy to do that as well.
Can I shave you?
You can show me. Show me.
Can I shave you?
Oh yeah, you can shave me too. Like if you have that, if you would like, I can shave myself and give you this animated picture and then send that video as well.
Bubble butt, bubble 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 butt, bubble butt, bubble 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 butt, bubble butt, bubble 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 butt. What I'm finding very interesting regarding you are a founder of several very successful businesses.
Yep.
You had a very interesting journey, not only regarding business, but your, let's say, personal development. So if you can share something about it with us and with our audience.
Yeah. So first off, thank you so much. This is an amazing opportunity.
Mr. Jeremy.
Yeah, I have been an entrepreneur since I believe the day I came into this world. I started kind of my first company when I was 7. And that was 7 years old. A little bit of a background on that. My mom got a call.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, this is exactly what I can sell at 7 years old.
Okay.
When I feel like I could sell anything. But so my mom got a call from the principal that was like, okay, so you have a little entrepreneur on your hands. And I go, she goes, okay, and the principal was like, I got a couple calls from a few parents that said Jeremy has been cleaning out kids' piggy banks. And I go, like, willingly. I had kids bringing me like bags of like $20 of quarters. And
like
it was
like
literally
some kind of bank or?
Exactly. I was a holding company for their funds anyway.
Cool.
And it was like my first ever membership club. It was just like, hey, you want to be my friend? You want to swing with me on the swing? Here's $20. $20. And it was kind of funny that's where I was like, okay, this is I correlate effort with profit.
By the way, just one short question. A lot of our entrepreneurs, listeners, are asking me about paid membership sites. What do you think? Is it a good way to get some money as your piggy bank from the school?
Okay, so I love how you put that. But for me, I think paid membership sites are the way to go, right?
Okay.
Especially if you lean toward more of your personality. I think there's a thing out there in the ethos called like personality selling. And a lot of times if you gear yourself toward that, courses, coaching, a lot of that stuff is geared toward the people that can outwardly express or empathize with someone. So if you have like high EQ or emotional intelligence, I believe you set yourself up for a perfect online course membership platform. And we build a lot of those at V1 as well. So like if anyone wants to come and needs any help setting up their course, we can do that.
Any tips and tricks? What do you use, guys? Like wild apricot, or it's a business secret?
Oh, no. So like we actually have these pre-built modules in our company that we set them up for like a membership site. So like there's a couple things, like a couple modules that they would want. And one of those things is like a payment gateway, right? So we essentially move the modules based on what they want, and we set it up within a couple weeks and ship it to them.
Cool. Sounds like a great model. So let's go back to your 7 years old piggy bank story.
Piggy bank entrepreneur. And so when I was like 11, I started this sales company where for every item, like knickknacks, right? Like I would go out and sell wrapping paper to neighbors. You know what I mean? So I would sell from this company. Every item I sold, I got $3. And I then hired my brother, Matt, who I gave $1 for everything he sold. And I got $2 for doing nothing.
So in psychology, we usually for no answer, we usually say it's like verbal slamming in your face.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
how important those yes cookies are when you are still young? I'm referring to, like old books like Emotional Intelligence and 2 Cookies Experiments, etc. So how important for you and for your personal and business development was to actually earn that first $3?
It is. I say a sale to me now is better than sex. So like I get a high off of seeing like the Stripe transaction on my watch. It's the number one thing in life, but there is 9 times that something didn't go through. And I just believe if you call it the cookie strategy, right? Like you get a cookie for this little thing, or you get a cookie for this or a treat for that, whatever. I like that and I admire that strategy. At the same time, I'm thinking, dude, it's so freaking hard to, you go through such ebbs and flows in entrepreneurships and peaks and valleys that I think you just need to have that mentality where you do get a cookie for that yes. Because there's 20 no's for every yes that you get, right?
How do you feel even today?
Yeah.
Be honest. How do you feel even today when somebody say no?
I take it so hard. Like I have a problem, and admittedly so, that when someone says no, I don't want this, they tell you you're supposed to just go on to the next. It's a numbers game. I struggle with internally. I don't even tell people this. Now it's broadcast everywhere. But I really believe that I still internally struggle with my rates not being 80%, 90%. I could close 9 out of 10 people, and that 10th person, I'm not going to be like, great, I got 9. I'm going to go home to my wife or to my manager, Josh, and I'm going to say, fuck, this guy said no for this. I take it a little more harsh than I actually should. And that's just something I need to compartmentalize and get better at as I grow as a CEO.
Yeah, well, actually,
Great question, by the way.
It's a huge problem. It's unbelievable how huge problem it became. One of our guests a few episodes ago, she was talking about suicide rates among entrepreneurs.
Oh, shit, yeah,
that's unbelievable. Actually, in your part of the world, so
people fucking kill themselves.
They are hanging around the LA trees. They are jumping from the, they are absolutely crazy because it's hard to get to know as an answer.
Dude, I wouldn't wish entrepreneurship on an enemy. It is a curse. Like
yes,
I wrote a piece in Entrepreneur magazine that was like the always on entrepreneur, and how entrepreneurship is a disease. Like I've gotten fired from every job I've ever done, essentially. And this isn't something, it's just something I'm geared to do. I don't think anyone wants to hire me to do anything that's like I'm not an authority on. It's easy to say, oh, I want this Tesla. Oh, yeah, sorry. Like, I want this Tesla, or I want this house in the hills. But you got to work your fucking ass off for it. Like it is that mentality where you're just going to have to get through the hard times and you're going to have to work 50, 60, 70, 80 hours. And at some point you need to have a mental check. Like, is this for me? Am I worth being a number one? Is like my stress and health worth being a number one at my company versus a 2, 3, 4 at some other company? Right.
And
like,
Jeremy, and the context, it's unbelievable. So as we have an honest and open conversation,
I love this.
before, yeah, sure. Finally, something different.
Finally, something different on your podcast. There we go.
Well, actually, a lot of people are pretty open, but
Good.
not so much as you are. So, and that's
I'm glad
good.
I could do. I like to be as open as possible. I believe
absolutely.
more people would be successful in entrepreneurship if they knew what it really was and they knew what it really took.
Yeah, absolutely agree. So basically, regarding the context, not only it's hard to getting the no as an answer, but for example, 5 minutes before our meeting, our podcast, whatever we want to call it, I had an argue with Daria, with my partner. She asked me, okay, so what kind of money are we talking about? You are interviewing that guy Jeremy, so who is the Jeremy? What? I'm trying to tell her, well, he's really very clever dude. He did a lot of things from 7 years old, and she does not buy that story.
She doesn't buy it.
Okay, I have my email list. He has his email list. We will promote each other. She's not buying it. So it's basically, I'm trying to be funny, but it's a really serious story. Sometimes our context does not understand us as entrepreneurs.
No, dude, even the closest people to us, like my wife or like your partner, no one knows what you're going through, and that's what's hard. Sometimes I've thought, fuck, I need a fucking therapist or something. You know what I mean? Like, I need advisors are only there when when they want to be there, right? Like, other founders know, but you can't really find someone that is at your exact same time and knows your exact same story. It's really hard because you are truly the only person who walks in your shoes all the time. People can have similar stories, or they can talk similar lessons or similar mistakes that they've made, but you will make your own mistakes. And it's like, I call it, I don't know, I have it written down in my office somewhere. Like, it's Jeremy's threshold of mistakes. Like, someone can tell you, don't make these 6 mistakes, but what's going to happen is you're going to make your own 6 mistakes. You're just going to negotiate around the 6 they told you. So it's really a path. You need to make X amount of mistakes in order to be successful. So I don't know. It's about figuring out at some point in time, I need to get out of this, because there's not a lot of people that can go to their partner or their spouse and say, hey, I just had this. Like, imagine you having a 16-hour day.
Oh, don't even mention that topic. Don't even mention that topic when I'm so excited and come to her and say, I have so beautiful idea, and I just see her eyes, her the face,
Yeah, that's it, man.
She's very supportive at that moment. I'm ironic, of course.
There you go. So like, for me, it's like, what if your partner has a bad day after you working 16 and a half hours and she's like, do the dishes. And you're like, fucking asshole. Like, you just under your breath, you're like, if you only knew what I went through, I don't remember what it's like to get a paycheck.
Did you try with foot massage? It usually works.
You
in
want to
my
know?
Case.
I'm telling you, I'm taking that advice. That's probably the best.
No, really. That's in here and now. Eckhart Tolle, here and now. Foot massage. Forget about speaking about different topics. Do you see how much we use the authenticity for last couple of years? But it has it's like a coin. It has 2 sides.
Sure. What's
So
the other side?
basically, so from one point of view, if you want to succeed, you need to be authentic. So people
Yep.
need to say,
Yeah.
okay, so Jeremy is that guy.
Yeah.
But from other point of view, there will be some PR experts, there will be some friends from big corporation world that
Yep.
will tell you, well, you need to bend a little bit more. You are not allowed to be so
Yeah.
authentic. And
I love that. So like when I first started out, I was very, very, very self-conscious about putting any opinion of mine out there. And when I got my first, I always think about this. If you're selling something or you're running a business and you're trying to get your first clients or your first customers or whatever you're doing, I was just talking about this with Josh, is that you kind of start in stages when you start any kind of venture. And first it's like the crying stage where you're like just trying to get out of it with like your tears. And then you're in this begging stage where you're begging people to try your service or be your friend or do whatever it is, and then begging for money. And then eventually you get to the point where like you're starting to charge people a little more, and you start to get that arbitrage and that leverage. So at the beginning of any venture, I think it's important that you lead with that authenticity side, because if I go back to the first time I ever did my article, I was afraid that none of my friends would like it, right? None of my friends would share it. None of my friends would subscribe to it or follow my blog or whatever it was. And you want to know what's the fucking truth? Not a lot of my friends did, right? But I'm telling you right now, at the end of the day, when I posted that article and I looked at my stats at entrepreneur.com, I had 1,000 shares.
beautiful.
1,000 shares on that as a nobody, which meant out of the 10, so I take that back, 10 to 20, maybe 15 or 20 of my friends, my close friends, shared that article. But I had 900 friends on Facebook, right? I'm thinking, I've got 900 friends. But no, what happened is I got the 20 in my core group, right? Who cares about the other 880 friends that I had? But I found 980 new friends by leading with authenticity. The people that loved that message, and it was a very eye-opening experience. Like, holy shit, if I become the person who I really, really am, I will attract the people who will buy from me or will like my company or will just empathize with my message. So it's very important that if you are authentic, you will find your people. Time and time again, it's proven itself.
So some people call it a tribe. Do you have your specific name for? Are they your followers or tribe?
So we call it the V1 tribe. We have in my company it's the V1 tribe, and then for the podcast following, it's Not Boring Nation. So a lot of the people like this. This is one of the best fucking interviews I've done, by the way. Like.
Thank you very much. And and now maybe I will delete this, and maybe I will by purpose leave it. Now it's a perfect time for first CTA. So no, but by all means, I mean now it's the perfect time for the audience to know a little bit more. So basically, you are not just Jeremy, a guy that is very comfortable to speak with. That has its own way of thinking, and you are really a fast thinker and deep thinker, but you are pretty successful. So are we talking about 3 figures, 5 figures, 6 figures?
So this company, that's a great question. So this company is my third 6-figure company, but it'll be my first 7-figure company.
Bravo, beautiful. That's huge quantum leap. That's amazing.
It really is. Like, and
that's
it's cool
amazing
that we're getting there like this year. So that's our run rate where we're raising more money. we're doing all these things. We're showing the traction that we need to show. And we raised our first capital round like earlier this year. And it's great.
Beautiful.
My first 2 companies were able to figure a year will now feed this beast that is kind of my never-ending, not boring snowball.
Okay, can you repeat the last sentence? Because I don't know why. I think, I have 50 megabits carbon connection, but for some reason, I think maybe there were Russians or something like that. But when we speak about money, we have interference.
There we go. They want this episode. They're spreading this. This is going to be your number 1 episode. That's all I know.
I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones. If we go, we cannot go from the scratch. Let's be so. We cannot say, guys listening to us, if you want to become Jeremy, this is your first step. So let's start somewhere from the middle. So let's say you already have a good idea, you already have a small tribe, you already found a way how to play by the book regarding anti-spam laws we have in Europe, GDPR, etc. So we have a lot of obstacles. Everything is becoming more and more expensive. So you cannot have Hootsuite for free anymore. So
damn it,
I
love that stuff.
Yeah, definitely. So what would be your suggestion to? So okay, you are definitely into your awareness. You are definitely into your authenticity. Mm-hmm. You have a very specific learning curve. You developed your tribe.
Yeah, I think my advice to anybody, if they start out and they just have an idea. So most of my days are people with digital products. So like anyone that has a digital product. I literally have built my company around my own experience with being a non-technical founder. So I don't know how to code. I barely know how to really design, but I had to teach myself all these things because tech is tens of thousands of dollars to build your website or build your mobile app, which we essentially give to people for $200 a month. So I'm trying to, if I know that if the platform I have today, right now, existed 4 years ago when I started, I would be a hell of a lot farther and I would have a hell of a lot more money than I do now. So it's one thing where I built this for those people that have an idea, that want to get it out. They want to get it out as fast as possible. And then they also think that like it is one thing where I just want to make it happen for as many people as possible. And I'm trying to get that price down. But like $200 is the best price that we can do. So like, listen, and again, if you're an entrepreneur and you've got like $1,000 to spend, right? You need to like kind of go and spend some on your platform and on your product. $200 is nothing. So there's a lot of education on our side. But everyone can treat their business like they live in the 1980s, right? So if you're really scratching for dollars, it's what people aren't doing today with digital products are knocking on doors. So like if you actually go door to door to door with a digital product and you go, hey, no, I'm just here to solve a problem that I think you might have. Do you have this problem? No, let me move on. So like if you bring new age tech to old ways of distribution, I think you're going to be golden. Like most people spend a shit ton of money with Facebook ads and Instagram ads that are now getting more expensive. I just ran a campaign with Craigslist. It cost me a fraction of the price, and I added 300 emails on my email list, double opted in email lit on my email list.
Beautiful.
They got my idea kit, which was my digital ebook, and now I'm sitting here going, for less than $100 spend on Craig. No one's thinking I'm going to advertise on Craigslist. We got a few salespeople out of that.
It's a beautiful list, by the way. I mean, it's
beautiful. It's a beautiful way.
It's easy to use. It's of great value.
easy to use, great value,
Yeah.
and I think it's disproportionate, right, to what you actually spend. If everyone is thinking Facebook, don't think Facebook, right? Like if everyone around you is telling you Facebook, do not do Facebook, because if everyone is playing there, it's going to be louder and it's going to be more noisy than you can get active with if you're starting at zero, if you're starting at nothing. So you've got to play the unfair advantage, and one person right now can do hand-to-hand combat. So like I can go knock on doors, I can go email and bug friends, I can go in Facebook groups and biz dev with people in them that are somewhat lateral to my my business or my tribe. So you don't need much. So I'm trying to package that all together and give it to people. And a lot of it I just give away for free. At the same time, it is something where encouragement and like in coaching, like what you do is so important.
Absolutely. So basically, where can we find you?
You can find me at notboringbusiness.com.
Okay.
Anyone can email me at Jeremy, Jeremy, at yourv1, yourvone.com. You can also find me on Instagram at Jeremy Redman. And you can also find, yourv1.com. Buy our stuff.
Beautiful. So it's like a ad. It's like call to action, something like that.
Oh yeah. Oh, got you. The CTA, the call to action. So like, it's one thing where I can actually get on it with, it's one thing where, okay. So like, I really think, that you're able to reach out to anybody via that old school communication. So like on my very first ever podcast episode, I gave out my real phone number. I don't even know if like bots and shit can like crawl that. And like, I get more robo spam calls now, but sometimes I get a text message with people every now and again. I get a text message with like, is this your real number? And I'm like, yeah. So then we start going back and forth. So there's, I really believe that people need to just get going now. Like,
and do you think that we from Europe or from some other parts of the world have any chance regarding penetrating on the US market? So basically, do you think any other of us have any chance knocking on the doors of your neighbors, no matter we are not from the States?
Well, no, I think a lot of the things are like a lot of big piece with like courses and things where if it's a language barrier piece where there are things out there that are like Russian to English language, for instance, or some kind of education through that vein is very important. I mean, if you overcome that kind of hurdle, or you take the course, or you make a membership course around that, you can play in the US. And there's only certain things that you need to know, or certain like just canned responses or certain sentences that you can learn and teach that are definitely applicable to doing 80% of the business. It's that whole 80-20 rule. So like if you teach 20% of this survival English, right? Russian to English, and you teach that 20% of the English, that will solve 80% of any business issue. There's an incredible value to that over here, I think. That's a good one. Right now, in my eyes, Jeremy is a nobody. But like everyone else that's listening to this, that is probably a nobody. If I can do it, you can too. Just get off your goddamn ass and do something. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't. Like, if you know you want to start a business, take one step in that direction. Like, I don't think I'm that amazing, but yet I've created something that other people think is amazing. I am just like you people. I'm just like everyone else. I don't have a big name, but I've done things that impact other people. I think if everyone kind of took that step in that right direction, this world would be a better place, and the business structure across the globe would be a better ecosystem. So
Absolutely.
there's no excuse. Like, get going, get started. Personally, reach out to me, and I'll help you. Anyone that wants that needs any kind of encouragement or any help, and I'm sure you do, and feel kind of the same. So, like, leaving your listeners with that, and some of my listeners that will be listening to this as well. It's I don't think that message can be heard too many times. Like, I do talks all the time where people come up to me, and it's like, fine, I wasn't the greatest person for 60% of the audience, but the 4 people that come up to me after and are like, will you be my mentor? Will you help me do it? And I'm like, yes, man, I will help you. Like, let's do this together. And I'm telling you right now, some of those people piss me off when I actually go and check up with them, and they're like, no, I didn't do that. And I'm like, God damn it. You fucking wasted my time. And I'm like, just do something. Even if that thing is wrong, just do something. Now you know that's wrong, instead of sitting around and going, is that wrong?
There are people doing regular job and wanting to go into entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
And you have one, let's say, approach where the focus is that grows, meaning if I will focus on my idea, if I invest everything in it, at some point, maybe at last second of my breathing, I will succeed. The second option is, so what's your
Okay, so you're talking about people that are like stuck in the 9 to 5, right?
Yep.
Like, trying to do entrepreneurship. So for me, I think you need to audit. Like, am I number one, I'm working a 9 to 5. Do I feel stuck in the 9 to 5, or do I feel stuck in the 9 to 5 where I want to be an entrepreneur, or do I like my 9 to 5 and I want to be an entrepreneur? So there's two separate ways here, with two separate paths. One is you want a side hustle that might one day lead to something amazing. And for those people, after 5 o'clock hits, boom, you have a few hours before you need to play with your kids or before you need to do anything. So you take that coding course, or you put your website together, or you read a book on how to do something. I don't recommend reading a book to know how to do something. I recommend going to do that thing. But you have from about 5 to 7, you put the kids down to sleep, you put to bed, you play with them, whatever. That's only if you have kids. Then you have from 10 to midnight to do anything. And that's still getting decent sleep, waking up, whatever. That's that path. The other path is, or I guess to finish off that other side, is you see if that path grows, and does it grow to where you're making more than that 9 to 5 is, and you want to take that path. That's a slower path normally, but it's a path I've seen people take that they're on. It's more unconventional of an entrepreneurial approach. And it's a safer one. So you're kind of mitigating the risk of entrepreneurship, or you're de-risking that investment for yourself. The second path, which is more my path, which is I'm a go for broke. I heard my wife say, talk about partners. My wife we sat at dinner one time, and she looked over at our friend and she goes, I've come to terms with that we're going to be living in a house on the hills or a box in the street. I go, oh man, to hear that and to go, it one applies pressure to you, but I am a go for broke, all in, quit your job or get fired, because when your back's against the wall, you need to bring income in. You need to bring revenue. I'll go out and beg. I'll beg people to do it. So when you don't have that fallback of the 9 to 5, you start that journey. I think that's a completely different journey to start when you're just like quitting, you're giving your 2 weeks. But I know multiple people who have done that, and my manager is one of them. So like, and now he's very successful.
it goes even
It
so
does.
far. What are your personality traits? Of course. So basically,
Right.
it's
You have
not
to
for
audit yourself.
everybody. It's not for
Right.
everybody. Yes.
That is a very harsh way to put it, but
Yeah.
it's truly not for everyone. You
I
need
mean,
to have that
that's my way. Actually, Jeremy, that's my way of, I consciously go into this comfort zone because I know that I need to stretch so much. And when I stretch, what
Yep.
people basically don't understand, if guys listening to two of us, if you go to this comfort zone, at some point of time, if you will not hanging on a tree in LA, in some point of time, your comfort zone will be bigger.
Yep.
Because you will be enough of time in this comfort zone. So if you have a bigger comfort zone, what you have more choices.
Yeah,
You
you have
can
more
do more
opportunities.
things.
Yep.
So, but we need to stress out. It's not for everybody. It's really not for everybody.
I really believe that goes back to my original point of kind of auditing to see if you're a founder of a company and not just trying to play that role. You really are an entrepreneur, or you're an entrepreneur's sidekick. Like that's the one thing I really think you should find out. A lot of people, like when I've built each one of my companies, there are a lot of people where I struggle for the longest time to get the product out, to get sales. You get that sidekick that now thinks they're the entrepreneur, and you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. You don't remember this time, MFer. Like you remember, let's slow your roll down a little bit. And I've kind of had that where I've had to have that talk where it's like, let's keep nailing results. Let's keep doing this. So there's even some responsibilities on the entrepreneur sidekick, but they're not as much as the founding entrepreneur, but they are a little bit more than the 3s, 4s, 5s, 6 employees coming in. I think just being aware of that fluctuation and that exists will help people be more successful in their side hustle. A side hustler is still an entrepreneur. So it's still a great thing, and you're still you're still making some revenue, and you still get that, you're feeding that fire in your belly, that entrepreneurial fire.
And it maybe sounds it's easy conversation. Maybe it sounds like it's easygoing process, but
fuck no,
it's really not. And that's one of the reasons why we are so lucky having you, Jeremy, on our podcast, because people can actually contact you and ask you those kind of questions, and they can get a concrete. Yep. Well, maybe help is not the right word, but support and knowledge and the learning curve and steps. And how would you define it?
I would define this. I would define that process as some kind of like entrepreneurial awakening. Like if it's just you trying to find out if you're an entrepreneur, I would really kind of gauge yourself as talking to a few entrepreneurs like myself, like you. Reaching out personally if we're not too busy to get back a hold of you. I kind of just knowing this, that if 20 people listening to this podcast email me how difficult it is to respond and help those 20 people on top of everything else, we'll just run this test. If you think you can handle everything we'll call it a digital CEO does on a daily basis, and I am willing to sit down, I'm willing to have a phone call with 30 people that come in through your podcast. Can you imagine how taxing that is? I don't have much free time, but I'm willing to do it because I know that is what an entrepreneur does. If you were willing to do something like that, imagine working a 9-to-5, taking 30 phone calls after, right? If you can handle that and that makes you excited, boom, you're an entrepreneur. It's these little tests in life where you start to take that first step, that second step. Talking to an entrepreneur is kind of that first step and going, that makes me excited. How excited does it feel to build something and sell it? Like if you connect with that feeling, that's another test I run, like on myself.
That's it. That's it. So basically, once again, your website or email, if you can repeat it.
yourv1.com, yourvone.com is our website. You can, if you request a demo, I will actually take the demo, I think we've gotten to the point, we're almost to the point where I'm not taking them, but you can email me personally at Jeremy, Jeremy, yourvone.com. Email me. We'll set something up. Get a hold of me.
So, for example, the 100th person, let's make a contest, can get an exclusive video of you shaving your beard.
I'm all in on that. The 25th person gets a video. If the 25 people email me here, then I'll do that.
It's a deal. It's a deal, Jeremy.
Share the video.
It's a deal, Jeremy. It was so nice talking to you. Wish you a wonderful rest of the day. I like it as well. It was a great vibe. Keep in touch.
Will do. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Take care.
Thank you.
Spread the word by leaving a rating and review on iTunes.
21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.